So I guess, you're like, well, is it noticeable? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Because the armholes are 2 different sizes. Like what? How? I don't know. Hey knitters, welcome to episode 231 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm your host, Devin Ventry. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram. And if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Today, I'm drinking coffee out of my BVM mug. The Blessed Virgin is on my mug. Got my morning consecration here on the back. That's always nice. Welcome to the podcast. This is a knitting podcast. If you're new, please subscribe. I'm so glad that you're here. I am here this week, which is a little bit of a bummer. My husband's work colleague got COVID and hand, foot, and mouth disease because his son is in daycare or something. I don't know. So the whole work trip got canceled. I still have hopes, though, that we will make it on this work trip because it is in Dallas and they still haven't been to the McKinney Knittery. And I'm hoping that if I can go, I can do maybe a little bit of a meetup with some local knitters who I know there and maybe some that I haven't met yet. So if that happens, I will let you know. I am hopeful. It has been stupid hot here in Virginia. In our family, we use the word stupid to mean very. So it's been stupid hot, also stupid humid here. So even on days when it's not that hot, the humidity is just oppressive. So I have been wearing a lot of my summer knits. Today I have on the Diggory that I thought I had worn, but apparently I hadn't worn it in a little bit. The Diggory tee is a great little top. It's a great little t-shirt. It is bottom up, which some people expressed, I don't want to say annoyance at because they wanted it to be top down, which I get. I love top down. But the thing about the bottom up is that it gives you the option at the shoulder to do either a 3-needle bind off, which I did on the one that I wore last week, or you can do Kitchener, which is what I did here. I think I did Kitchener, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, this is a great little t-shirt. If you have not joined in on the summer Knitalong and you're looking for a pattern, I decided to go ahead and put Diggory on sale. So go ahead and grab that pattern if you don't have it already. And it's great because it's a fingering weight. I used the Freetown fingering on this, which is the single ply, organic, fabulous, luxury, ultra soft yarn, Knitty McPurly. But you can use any fingering weight yarn that you want. I think mine, I can't remember how many skeins it took. I want to say 2, maybe a little more than 2. So if you have a t-shirt quantity of fingering weight yarn, and you can use anything you want, like I said, it looks great in everything. And you could even use a variegated. People have where you have one skein with multiple colors. Because it's such a basic design, you could do that. I tend to like variegated broken up a little bit more. But a tonal or a tonal with speckles, like a color of the month, would be something that you could use too. Okay, progress and shop news. There are a handful of patriotic yarn sets still available. If you want to go and grab those, I have those on Frankfurt Fingering and Dubrovnik DK. Very nice if you want to show your colors, the red, white, and blue for the American flag, and the camo colors, the Black Forest Cake, the Bosque, and the River Rock. So those are available still if you would like those. Also, my older colors of the month are discounted. I believe a single skein is $25 and sock sets are $30. So go and pick those up if you're interested in that. Gigi and I have been super busy working on the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters, which will ship next week. I like to ship around the 15th, so I think they'll probably go out on Wednesday. That's my husband calling me. Hold on. All right, very important family matters discussed. Should we take the boy for lunch today for his good grades, or should we do it another day? These things are important, folks. Podcast interrupting. Oh gosh. So anyway, yeah, Gigi and I have been working on the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters and the Advent calendars because we like to get these things done. I have big plans for next year. Big plans. I would like to do 2 sock clubs and a blanket club next year. So please tell all your knitting friends, I have big dreams for next year. I have really big dreams. Like I really want to move into a new dyeing space because I'm outgrowing the one that I have in my house. I have a really large dyeing space here, but I am limited on some space and some electricity, even though we did have an electrician come out and give me more electricity, but I need more power. So I'm in the market for a place. I've got a place in mind, but we'll see if it works out. I don't know. Big dreams, big dreams. Tell all your friends who knit. Check out Knitty McPurly. Got clubs coming up, especially beginning of December. We're going to be signing up for next year's sock clubs and blanket club. So plan accordingly. Okay. How is your summer knit-along project coming? Oh my gosh, I left mine downstairs. Hold on. Okay, so my Devin AT. The going is slow, folks, because it is a fingering weight sweater, but I'm a little bit further than I was last time. Like I got a little bit done, but I've mostly set it aside because it's just a lot. It's just constant paying attention. And I know how I am, where when I start it, I am like rolling and cruising and just so excited. And then I hit a point where I'm like, ugh. But the ball will start rolling again. And when that happens, I'm going to cruise through it and finish it up. Now, there is probably going to be 2 more ball rollings that need to happen for this to get done because I'm not very far. But the summer knit-along ends on August 15th. So if you have not cast on a project for this yet, you still have time. You have like over a month and you could totally knit a summer top in that time. So hopefully I can finish this one in that time because I cast it on like June 15th, which was the beginning of the summer knit-along. So feel free to post your progress pictures on the hashtag KMP SummerCal if you want. I've seen some up there and they look super good. Only finished sweater glamour shots are counted in the final knit-along, and you have until August 15th at midnight to post those. So, you know, you in the sweater in a nice part of your house or your yard or something, smiling, or it doesn't have to be you. It can be whoever the sweater is for, whoever the recipient of the sweater is. But yeah, you still have time to join in if you want. The rules are below, and I do choose 3 winners, each of whom get a $50 Knitty McPurly gift card. So join in. So I finished my wisteria top, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in the topic of the week. So I wanted a project that I could cruise on because this Devin AT is the opposite of cruising. This is just it's all cables all the time. And I like it because I like doing that kind of project, but I need a cruise project. So I decided to cast on the crisscross top that I showed last week, which is a free pattern from Purl Soho. And what I have so far is the front and the back hem. One thing that's interesting about this top is that, so this is the front hem. It's got a ribbing here, and then this is the reverse stockinette. This is the right side. And then this is that middle part that crisscrosses at the top. So I'm going to have to block this really judiciously to make this stay put, which I think the ribbing on either side will help with. But this is really enjoyable. It's worsted weight. I chose Dusty in the Warsaw worsted because I love this color, and I don't own anything in it. So I thought this would be a great cruising top because I finished my wisteria top, which was my other cruising top. And I'm going to talk about how I was cruising and I drove it directly into a tree. It was not good cruising. Anyway, we'll talk about that at the topic of the week. But first, 2 things I want to tell you. My good friend's daughter is a crocheter. And my good friend is like she's like a super talented musician. And for everything that I don't know about music, she doesn't know about knitting. So she was like, my daughter wants to use some of your yarn to make a sweater. And I was like, great. So anyway, we're figuring it out, and she is crocheting this sweater, and she's using Devin AT KnittyMcPurly in the dusty colorway. And she's using one of my beautiful crochet hooks, and she agreed to just let us follow her along. She's a young person. She's like 20-ish, 21 maybe. And I just love that she is working on this project, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm very excited about her progress. So, so great. It's great when young people pick it up and you see them make their first sweater. It's just really exciting. Second thing is that tomorrow, my husband and I are going to the Cestari, I'm not sure how you say it, sheep farm in Swoop, Virginia, which is a couple hours away. We're going to go meet Francis, who I talked about a couple weeks ago. We're going to get a tour of the sheep farm. There is talk of them doing a custom spin for me, because what I really want is some Virginia yarn in my shop. I think that would be amazing. So, and also they have eggs. So I'm excited to get some eggs. Hopefully I can get some video and I can share that with you next week. But it's just really great that these family farms still exist, and we need to patronize them. We need to be using what they're offering. We need to be, working with them. And so I'm very, very excited for this tour tomorrow and to get to meet them, and hopefully going forward that we can work together. All right, the topic of the week. So I was thinking this week about the nature of our knitting mistakes. And there are different kinds of knitting mistakes. There are kinds where you are really trying and you are invested, but you're doing something new or something difficult. And that's what happened here with that line right there. That's what happened there. Like, I was really trying, but again, I had just cast on, and I just made a mistake. So that was the nature of the mistake. Plus, I can live with it. Non-knitters don't even see it. We see it. Non-knitters don't even see it. Also, it's in the back. My hair is going to cover it up. And I made, at that time, when I was about an inch past it, I made the executive decision that I am not going to rip it out. And I feel fine about that. Then there's what happened with my wisteria top. So here's the thing about artists. We have this superpower, okay? And if you have the artist brain, then you probably know what I'm talking about. We have this superpower where we can just kind of do it and it works for us. And so we learn to trust in this. And I always share the example of when I hung these 3 mirrors in my house and I measured them because they had to be equidistant. They had to be all exactly the same height. Like, hanging 3 things together is hard when you need them all to look perfect. So I measured very, very carefully. And I think I hung the 2 outer ones first. And as I was hanging the middle one, I had measured. And I saw where the measurement, and I was like, no. And I moved it. My husband was like, what are you doing? You measured. I was like, but it's not right. This will be right. And I hung it, and it was perfect. And it's just this artist brain power where we know how to make it work and look good in the end. Well, I leaned into this a little bit too much on the wisteria top. I trusted to my own whatever a little bit too much. And I was just cruising, and I was like, I didn't really read, and I put it down and I picked it up and I wasn't really sure. And it's a train wreck. So I made this little video. I thought about wearing it because I can wear it, but it just looks terrible. So I thought it's too embarrassing to wear. I made this little video so that I could show you what was wrong with it. And I will be ripping it back and reknitting part of it. So in this instance, the nature of my leaning into my artist brain a little too much led to this train wreck. Okay, folks, so here is my comedy of errors mishap wisteria top. So if you recall, I started off by making it too short. This was the cast on right here. So what I did was I went back and I picked up the same amount of stitches and I knit, maybe 2.5 more inches. Then, and I did an I-cord bind off here, which was super fun to work. I really enjoyed making that. Then I went back and I picked up an I-cord here to cover up the, kind of like seam looking line between the original knitting and the picked up part. And I was not sure about this. I thought this might look weird. And it turns out that this looks great. This looks amazing on. Now it comes in here because the I-cord kind of stretches out the 2x2 rib, but it doesn't do that when I'm wearing it. It actually looks really good. This part that I thought was going to be the disaster ended up being the best part of the sweater. Now let's talk about the top. So here's what happened. I just wasn't paying attention. And sometimes we're not paying attention and we think, well, this is like a super easy thing and I don't need to worry about all the details. But you know what? No, you do. You do. Or else you're going to have this. So this armhole is, as you can see, significantly smaller than this one. I don't know what happened there because I wasn't really paying attention. So I guess I just picked up fewer stitches to do the I-cord. The I-cord doesn't even really look good. Like, I don't know what happened here, but it's not good. This armhole, I really like the fit of. This one is too small. Now let's talk about this. I haven't even got the same amount of ribbing on both sides. Like, I don't know what happened. I just wasn't paying attention. So in the end, when I put this on, I think this doesn't look good. It looks lopsided because of the armholes, because of this wonkiness. It's more pronounced when I'm wearing it, which is why I'm not wearing it, because it just doesn't look good at all. So I thought, can I live with this? No, I absolutely cannot. I won't wear it. And I like this top. I love the yarn. This is May's color of the month. I think the yarn is great. I love this detail. I can't wait. It's just the top of the sweater that is a disaster and needs to be redone. And it's not even the back. The back looks fine. Very happy with how the back turned out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all 3 I-cords and undo the seam at the shoulders and rip back the front. I think because even this is not the same. Like even here, I think I need to rip back in the front to here. So that's my plan for that. I could have done this already, but I really wanted to show you my mistakes. And how it's funny, the thing that we think we're not going to like, we end up liking. And, you just think, oh gosh, this is such an easy sweater. This is my coasting sweater. So I'm just going to coast and trust to my artist brain that this is going to be fine. No, sometimes it's not fine. So I guess, you're like, well, is it noticeable? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Because the armholes are 2 different sizes. Like what? How? I don't know. But this is my own little, so here's what happened. Don't be like me. Read the directions. But I don't mind ripping it out. I use just under 2 full skeins and I have 2 little bits left that I will probably need to use. We'll see. But I don't mind. I'm going to rip it back. It's just that front part like I showed you, and I think it's going to be fine in the end. Anyway, all right, let's move on to your comments. I got some amazing comments. There were significantly less this time, I think, because the one before that, we lit it up. But please feel free to leave me a comment. I love your comments. My favorite one came from Carol. Carol says, I don't agree with your Ravelry comments, but I respect you. And I was like, I won the internet. Carol won the internet with that fabulous comment. This is how we need to address everyone all the time, if they are respectable. I don't agree with you, but I respect you. Amen. Karen Red Baron says, congrats on 8K. Your podcast is such a wonderful resource for knitting and for the heart. I'm so thankful for your community here. Me too, Karen. You guys are amazing. I get the best comments on the internet. Elaine says, Elaine from the UK. Hi, Elaine. Great video, Devin. Love your knits. The story about Harry was delightful. He is a child who is well-rounded and has great imagination. I would love to read his stories as he progresses through school. His teachers are in for a treat. Amen to that. I just loved Harry. Oh my goodness. First of all, his name is Harry, which is fabulous. He's adorable, and he just has the best attitude. Love, love, love. The Knitting Wanderer says, I've been behind on episodes here and was about to comment on last week's episode after you mentioned the book, Why We Get Sick. I am a strong proponent of intermittent fasting for so many reasons. If there's anyone out there looking for information to start, I recommend Dr. Jason Fung. The health benefits of fasting are astronomical, and I fear it gets ignored by medical professionals for a myriad of reasons, but a big one is money. Agreed. Anyway, I also think whole foods as much as possible is a game changer. Foods that God made for us to eat as is are the healthiest for our bodies. I just found a new book to me that I'm going to check out, Delay, Don't Deny by Jen Stevens. Cool. I haven't even heard of that one. And yeah, Dr. Fung is the one who started the whole intermittent fasting thing. Ben Bickman is a guy who just wrote the most recent book, I think. But it's really good stuff. I highly recommend it if you have any health problems. And I didn't think I had any health problems till I got cancer. So maybe it's for all of us. Okay, knitting fantasies. Today, I have 3 picks for you. I usually set out to have 2, but there was one that I just couldn't ignore. It was so beautiful. So I have 2 sport weight summer tops and 1 sweater that would be great for a fall knit because we're in July. And if you wanted to have a sweater ready for the fall, it would be something you could cast on now. Although I think we're going to have a fall knit along starting after the summer knit along ends. So maybe for that. Okay, my first one is called the Sunshine Top. I forget who designed this. It's not on what I wrote down here, but I will link it down below so you can click on it if you want. This is a bottom-up sport weight top that comes in 6 sizes, and I found it on a site called Hobbii, Hobbii, that I'd never even heard of before. It's a $6 pattern, and you knit it in 2 pieces. You knit the front and the back, and then you stitch them together. It's a lot like the summer vibe top in that sense. It's really pretty. It's open work, but it has some cables. It's got a V-neck. I just really like the shape of it. This looks super wearable, a lot like the Diggory tee in the wearability sense, where you could always put it on and feel good about how you look in it. I really, really like it. Okay, my second pick is by Rachel Knits Things over on Etsy. This is a top-down faux wrap with a peplum. It has I-cord edging, comes in 9 sizes up to a 64-inch bust, which is the great thing about 9 sizes is you can use the gauge switcheroo worksheet, or like I mentioned before, Cheryl's gauge switcheroo calculator to figure out what size to make based on your gauge if you want. That worksheet is available for free on my website. I will also link Cheryl's calculator down below. And so it's so nice to have 9 sizes in case you want to use a different gauge or a different weight of yarn. I thought this was really pretty. I had never heard of Rachel Knits Things before. She doesn't have a million designs. But I found this sweater that she designed, which is totally inappropriate for summer. Although I do feel that you could make it without the sleeves and just do a little cuff around. I love that. I'm not really a sleeves person. I like short sleeves as opposed to a longer sleeve. But anyway, this would be great as a winter knit. Although, I don't know, the older I get, and I'm not like menopausal. I left that behind. Cancer puts a hard finish on menopause and you go through it really quick. So I'm just hot as an older woman now, a post-menopausal woman. I'm just hot all the time. So I could totally see myself knitting this as a vest with just the cuff around the edge. But the thing I love about it is this is 3 strands of mohair held together or a DK weight. So if you wanted it to be fuzzy like this, you could use Knitty McPurly's Dresden DK, which is Surrey silk, but DK, that would be amazing. Or you could just use a regular DK weight yarn. I just really like it. I'm into cables these days, but again, you know, the fingering weight, it's so slow going. Doing it in DK weight just sounds really nice. It'd be really fast. And that's, I think, what I'm loving so much about the crisscross top. Like I cast this on, I mean, this is like 30 minutes of knitting, just those two, you know, bottoms. One thing I do want to say about this crisscross top is, and I'm worried I'm being a little too trendy here, but I'm going to knit it a little bit shorter than the original top because it is an older pattern. So it's designed to go with lower rise pants that were more in fashion then. But all my pants now are higher rise, and I think a shorter top would be cuter. But then I worry, gosh, in 10 years, I'm going to have all of these shorter shirts. What am I going to wear them with? I don't know. Am I a slave to fashion? I don't know. Anyway, this sweater is called the Amara sweater, also by Rachel Knits Things. Comes in 9 sizes up to a 70-inch circumference, which of course does not exist in human form, but it is nice to have the option if you want to use a different weight of yarn, which I don't know why you would, because DK is intrinsically the best weight of yarn, if we're speaking, you know, objectively. All right, moving along to So Here's What Happened. Today's So Here's What Happened comes to us from Katie. I just love Katie. She is so sweet. She lives in California, and I've never met her. She's just my internet friend. But she writes in such a friendly way that I just want to hang out with her and sit and knit all day long. That would be so much fun. So today's story comes from Katie, and it is about her Knitty McPurly yarn stash. So buckle up because it is sizable. Thank you so much, Katie. I really appreciate you choosing my yarn. I know you have a lot of choices out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing mine. She says, okay, so my to-do list for today was to decide what summer top I'm going to make for the Knitty McPurly Knitalong. She sent this to me on June 17th. She says, my first plan was already made. I'm going to make the sundial tee out of some gorgeous hand-dyed BFL fingering in 3 coordinating colorways that I fell in love with at a local fiber fair at the beginning of June. It was meant to be. The pattern will show off the 3 colorways perfectly. And I'll see the local dyer again at another fair in October to show her what I made with her yarn. Oh, love it. She says, but I really want to make a top out of Knitty McPurly colors. So that meant some dedicated procrastinating. I knew one of the most difficult decisions was going to be which gorgeous yarn to choose from my accumulated stash of Knitty McPurly colors. It's a beautiful collection, a work of art all its own already. Well, thank you so much. I've been a follower since June of 2023, when my sister told me she'd found a really lovely knitting podcast that is always an enjoyable listening and watching experience. And I've been collecting KMP yarn ever since. Sometimes I order yarn with a plan, like for the Hey Sailor top, and sometimes I order because I'm in love and I'm sure that a plan will come to me. I pulled out the large plastic tote that holds the precious collection. It is an 80-quart tote that is stuffed full. To be fair, I also have a layer of Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. stored in there as well. Although as I write, I'm thinking about all the KMP yarn that's not in that tote either, because there's quite a bit involved in active projects, such as the 6 skeins for a Benedicta that's been on the needles since last July, just like mine. Maybe you'll finish yours soon too. She says, I got halfway through the yoke. I was really enjoying the color work. Oh, and then adopted a 4-month-old kitten, and he thought colorwork knitting was the most delightful yarny game. He was sure I wanted to play with him. He's grown out of that now, but I've gotten distracted with Knitalongs and socks. I know, I totally get it. Nor any sock league sets because they have their own dedicated box, but I digress. I started digging through the tote and pulled out pretty yarn. It was worse than I expected. Even harder to make a choice than I thought it could be. One of the beautiful things about ordering KMP monthly colorways is this an ad? Thank you so much, Katie, for this wonderful advertisement. Just because I'm in love with the yarn is that over time, her monthly colorways coordinate with each other as well as her regular KMP tonals. I wanted happy, light, bright, summery colors with pink as the main star, so I started pulling out skeins in that aesthetic and leaving all the moodier colors in the box. The pile of skeins coming out of the box needed space, so I laid them out on the dining table to get a good visual, putting them together into coordinating combinations as I went. I really want the summer top to be DK. Of course you did, because it's intrinsically the best. Trusting to the magic of the wool fiber to still be wearable in summer. Of course, I'm making my summer top in worsted, so it's fine. She says I'm planning a tank top. Since I enjoy knitting DK more than fingering weight, and it will go faster, but I had some specific fingering skein / colorways in mind. So I pulled those out anyway, mostly just to see them. I ended up with a beautiful mosaic of pinks, purples, blues, and greens on my table, with the oldest colorways from February 2024 all the way up through May 2025, color of the month. This is better than my collection because I sell them all, so I don't get to see the after pictures. Katie says, and then I thought, gosh, it would be fun to do a chronological photo sequence of the yarns, starting with last spring of 2024 and adding in last winter and then this spring's color. So here we go. Photo number 1, February 2024 Valentine mini set, May and June 2024, blue one pot wonder, Dubrovnik DK and Meadow and Jovis. She says, I'm pretty sure I had a plan for them, but I got distracted. Photo 2, add in Christmas candy pop set. I'm trying to make this work with the Valentine mini set. Oh my goodness, look at all of this yarn. This is so beautiful. Photo 3, complete the mosaic. Sock sets, candy pop, Valentine minis. Oh my gosh, it looks so good together. She says, the moral of the story is buy the yarn. You'll get years of happiness and procrastination joy and just possibly an FO that you'll love. P.S. I decided to cast on a Tolsta tank with the main color in May 2025 colorway with Meadow and Jovis accents. I think I'm also going to attempt a third top, but I can't decide whether to go pink and green colors or pink and purple colors. It's actually harder to make the decision since I can't go wrong either way. Oh my gosh. So apparently I have colors that I gravitate toward, and pink, purple, green, and blue, and just happy colors. I do moody colors too. I think the Bosque is a little bit moody, but I do a lot of happy colors. So I'm so glad that it made you happy, Katie. Thank you to all of my regular customers. I appreciate you so much. I feel like I know you. I know your name. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for the podcast. I will be here next week with footage from the sheep farm and hopefully Francis. I think he's going to be game. I get the vibe from Francis online that he's kind of a cool guy and he's going to be down with me filming him and his farm. So hopefully we'll have that for next week. I'll see you then. Bye, knitters.